Hello students, welcome again to my classes, and this is my fourth video actually. And today we are going to study the respiration. Today we are going to study the next process, respiration. We already completed the process nutrition in the previous videos, so please go through those videos. Now, before I start the respiration process, I just forget to tell you in the previous video that I missed two things. The one thing is the enzymes. One topic is the enzymes. The one topic enzymes. Enzymes I totally missed in that that nutrition topic. And second is the function of bile. So one function of bile and the enzyme. These two topics I missed in the previous video. So please pay attention to these topics. Now the enzymes. The first topic is the enzymes. Enzymes are the biocatalyst. Now in chemistry we are using the word catalyst. Now catalyst is a substance which increases the rate of reaction. Catalyst is a substance which increases the rate of reaction, or you can say which increases or decreases or which affects the rate of reaction. Now here the enzymes are biocatalyst. That means these are the catalysts which used in life forms, which used in living cells. So they are catalyzing the reaction. They are converting the substrate into product. For example, I'm telling you. Let us suppose, I'm giving you one example. Let us suppose how the enzymes work. That is what I'm going to tell you. For example, the starch. In the previous video, I told you the starch. The starch is a substrate in which the enzyme amylase act, and that starch converts into glucose. So here the enzyme is amylase. Here the enzyme is amylase. Now this starch is substrate and this glucose is the final product. So the main question actually the question is there in your CBSE book also, that what are enzymes? So enzymes are the biocatalysts. They are the substances, they are the proteins. The enzymes are protein in nature, so they are the proteins which converts the substrate into product, or they increases the rate of reaction. Increases the rate of reaction. So this is the topic enzyme which I left in that video. Okay. Now the next which I missed there. Now the next topic which I missed there is the function of bile. The function of bile. What is the function of bile? So I already told you that bile is very much important. There I told you that bile is important for making the food which is coming from the stomach to make it alkaline. So the acidic food which is coming to the intestine from the stomach, the bile makes that food to alkaline, so that the digestive enzymes may work. The one more function of the bile which I forgot in that video, sorry for that, is the converting the large fat globules. Conversion of large fat globules. Large fat globules. That means you can say the large fat molecules can be converted into smaller fat globules. Globules you can say these are the molecules. Huh? So the large fat molecules or the large fat globules into the smaller, so that lipase enzyme work on it. So that lipase enzyme which I left, which I forgot to teach you there in the nutrition portion. Now we are starting the respiration process. Now we are starting the process of respiration, which is very, very important for all the living forms. If that process is not there, then the organisms were unable to obtain the energy from what they eat. For example, I am telling you that not example, but we know that all the living forms requires energy for their survival. Now, if somebody asks you that from where that energy came, you simply say by eating the food. Now that is okay, by eating the food, but how that food is utilized, how that food is converted into energy, that is more important. The conversion of food into energy, that is more important. The food particles, for example, the glucose is absorbed by the body, and how it converts into the energy. That is what called the respiration process is. But before I start the respiration process, I'm going to talk about the general things. Okay, now for example, why there is a need for oxygen to us? When we from the lower classes we are studying that oxygen is very, very important. We are inhaling the oxygen, we are expelling the CO2, exhaling this CO2. Then why it is very much important to take oxygen? This is the question which comes many times in our mind, that why there is a need for taking the oxygen. So we and many other organisms, many other animals requires oxygen for the respiration process. Now in the previous classes we already studied the process of breathing. What is breathing is taking the oxygen in and taking the CO2 out. That is what called the breathing. And what the respiration is? Respiration is the process. Breathing is a part of respiration, I can say. Breathing is a part of respiration. But what is the respiration is? Respiration is the process in which organism is going to utilize the food what he eats by using oxygen and getting the energy from it. That is what called respiration. And respiration is performed by each of the living organisms, all the living organisms, not each, all the living organisms which are found in this world, from bacteria to humans, all respires. If they won't, you can understand. If they won't respire, they won't have energy to do it for performing the work. Now it is the respiration topic is there in your NCERT book, which is there in the page number 101 I think. So 101 page number is there. The respiration topic is there, and that topic is only I am going to elaborate. Now the respiration, when we talk about the respiration, there is a figure. There is a figure in your NCERT book, maybe the page number 102. There is a figure which shows the pathways, which shows the different pathways in which the glucose is utilized. Now why there is a need for utilization of glucose? Because the organisms utilizing the glucose and obtaining the energy. Now in our book there were given the two type of respiration process. The one is called the aerobic respiration and the another one is called the anaerobic respiration. I am telling you what is aerobic and what is anaerobic. Aerobic means where the oxygen is required, and anaerobic means where the oxygen does not require. So respiration in which the oxygen is required, that respiration process is known to be as the aerobic, and where there is no need for oxygen, that process is known to be as anaerobic. So the two processes are there. The one is the aerobic and aerobic respiration, and the another one is the anaerobic respiration. And how this glucose is utilized, that I am going to tell you right now. In many different forms, how this glucose is utilized. That figure is there. That first I am going to make that figure for you. because I haven't made the figure previously, so just I want to make the figure for you, and then I am going to tell you the next step. Now, let us suppose the glucose is there. Now, in this topic, we are going to complete so many things. Now, the glucose is the 6th carbon compound. The glucose is the 6th carbon compound. That means the one molecule of the glucose contains 6 carbon. And I think all of you know the formula for glucose: 6,6H12O6. That is correct. The glucose is the 6th carbon compound. I am talking about the figure which is given in your book, page number 102, I think. NCERT. Now, first of all, whether the organism follow the aerobic mode or whether the organism follow the anaerobic mode, the first step occurs in all the life forms. Now, what is the first step? The first step is the glucose converts into pyruvate. The glucose converts into pyruvate. And pyruvate is the 3 carbon compound. Pyruvate is the 3 carbon compound. And the energy is released. So pyruvate is the 3 carbon compound. And the energy is released. This is the first process in which the glucose converts into pyruvate. Now this process occurs in cytoplasm. And generally this process glucose converts into pyruvate is known to be as glycolysis. That process is known to be as glycolysis. The conversion of glucose to the pyruvate, that is the first process. Now, how the pyruvate is going to be further used by the other living forms. Now, first, if there is absence of oxygen, for example, in yeast, the pyruvate converts into ethanol, which is 2 carbon molecule and some amount of CO2, and energy is released. Now the second, again I am going to explain it. First I am just writing this figure. Second, sometimes in muscles where is lack of oxygen. I am telling you how this lacking is there. Sometimes lack of oxygen. The pyruvate converts into lactic acid plus CO2 plus energy. Lactic acid, CO2 and energy. Now this lactic acid is 3 carbon compound. And last thing, in presence of O2. It is done in mitochondria. In 9th class we know that mitochondria. We know about mitochondria. Mitochondria is also known to be as the powerhouse of the cell. So the presence of O2, that is the presence of oxygen in mitochondria, the pyruvate converts into CO2 plus H2O plus energy. CO2, H2O and energy. So this is the 3 form. This is the 3 ways. These the 3 ways in which the breakdown of glucose is there. These are the 3 forms in which the breakdown of glucose is there. So the glucose is breakdown into 3 ways. Now that is the common in all the organisms. Now this portion, this process, the glucose first converted into pyruvate, then absence of O2 in yeast, ethanol, and this is also known to be as fermentation. This process is also known to be as fermentation. Generally this process we can see in our daily life. When somebody is making jalebi or somebody is making dosa or something like that, they are adding yeast to it. They are adding yeast to the dough. so that it can what do you say, फूल अच्छे से जाता है लिक्विड ना. So fermentation is a process. So the glucose first converted into pyruvate, and in the absence of O2, the example is yeast, it converts into ethanol, CO2 and energy. Many brewing industries, those who are making wines and alcohols, they are using this process, and that process is known to be as fermentation. Now first glucose converts into pyruvate, and then in muscles. Now this is the case which I am going to discuss. Now how the muscles were lacking oxygen. Sometimes while doing vigorous exercise, the muscles get exhausted, and that time there is a more need of oxygen. But we are having a what do you say? We are having a normal supply of oxygen. But the muscles required a very large amount of oxygen at that time when somebody do vigorous exercise, and that time the muscles lacks oxygen, and in the muscles the lactic acid is formed. In the muscles the lactic acid it forms, and sometimes you also feel cramps. अकड़न होने लगती है, ऐठन होने लगती है, cramps in your body, in your joints, in your muscles. So that is the reason the lactic acid, because of the lactic acid only the thing is there. Now the second thing, the third thing, which is the complete oxidation of glucose. That glucose is finally completely converts into CO2, H2O and energy. So that is the three case. This is the three case. Now this is the first. In the first case, you can say the respiration is anaerobic. In the first case, in this case, you can see that the respiration is anaerobic. But here the oxygen is involved. And which type of respiration is? The aerobic respiration is this. Is it clear? Okay, now if you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, now. So the energy which is released here, the energy which are released here after the breaking down of glucose, how it can be utilized, that is we are going to see. Now the energy which is released there, is released in the form of ATP. The energy which is released there is released in the form of ATP, and in 9th class we know that ATP is the energy currency of the cell. Energy currency of the cell. So ATP is also known to be as the energy currency of the cell. And all of you know that what is the full form for this ATP? The full form for ATP is the adenosine triphosphate. Now these are the energy molecules which are obtained by the oxidation of glucose. When the complete oxidation of glucose is there, when the glucose converts into CO2, H2, and the above process, the process what we are saying, in that the energy is released in the form of ATP. This is a very important question for board. So ATP, the energy currency of the cell, we know that the formula is adenosine triphosphate. That means it is made up of 3 molecules of phosphate. Now how the ATP is going to provide the energy? Now when ATP converts into ADP, now what is the formula for ADP? It is adenosine diphosphate. D is for di, and releases the 1 molecule of phosphate. The 1 molecule of phosphate is released. A lot more amount of energy is released. Chemical energy is released, and this energy is utilized by the cells. This energy is an exothermic process. Now exothermic process and endothermic process we know. Exothermic processes are those processes in which the energy is released, and endothermic processes are those processes in which the energy is utilized, either in any form. So this is the exothermic process in which the ATP having the 3 phosphate molecules, the 1 phosphate molecules goes out from this ATP and forms ADP. So adenosine diphosphate plus phosphate plus energy, and this energy is going to be utilized by all the cells which are found in the. So this is what the thing is. This is what the topic is. Now the next topic, the next NCERT topic. Now, all the aerobic organisms requires a lot amount of oxygen. Now, I think you understood why. Because if the aerobic organism does not provided the sufficient amount of oxygen. If the insufficient amount of oxygen is provided to an organism which is doing aerobic respiration, then surely their respiration process get affected, and the amount of energy what the organism need, it is not getting the amount of energy what it is required for the organism. So it is very, very important. It is very, very important that a sufficient amount of oxygen, the supply of sufficient amount of oxygen is there for all the living forms who are performing the aerobic respiration. Now, when we talk about the plants, now the plants also respire. Of course, they require energy. They need energy for all their work, as we know, as we require. But their requirement is not that much what we are. Okay. So plant also respires, and how they respires? They also need oxygen. Now it is very surprising to know that it has become surprising that if I say that plants take oxygen in and taking CO2 out. Because we haven't studied this thing up to 9th class, that plants also take oxygen in and giving the CO2 out. But it is true, for the respiration process the oxygen is required. In the daytime, this is important. In the daytime, the major process which is occurring in the plant is the photosynthesis. Why I am saying that? Because the sunlight is there. There is a lot amount of sunlight is there. So in the daytime, the major process occurring in the plant is photosynthesis. But when the night is there is no sunlight. And if there is no sunlight, then which process is occurring? The respiration process is occurring. So it is very obvious that in the daytime, the requirement for the plant is CO2. CO2 is required by the plant because CO2 is very, very essential for the photosynthesis, we have already seen. But what happens in the night time? So in the night time, the major process which is occurring in the plants is the respiration. And in the night time, when this oxygen is obtained by the plant, is required, it is used for the respiration process. So ये कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि in the night time many plants who respires releases the CO2. The plant releases the CO2 and intake of oxygen is there. But in the daytime, the major process which is occurring in the plant is the photosynthesis. It doesn't mean that respiration is not there. Maybe respiration is there, but the major process occurring in the plant is the photosynthesis. So they are taking the CO2 in. So yeah, they are taking the CO2 in and releasing the oxygen out in the daytime. But in the night time, they are taking the oxygen in and giving out the CO2. And that is done through a spore, and which is already, you know, that the name of the spore is the stomata. So through the stomata at the daytime the CO2 comes in and oxygen goes out. In the night time the oxygen comes in and CO2 goes out. Is it clear to you? It is clear to you? Okay. Now we come to the animals who are aerobic. Now we are coming to the animals who are aerobic. Now, so many animals live in terrestrial form and many other lives in aquatic form. So terrestrial forms are having their own mechanism for getting the oxygen. The aquatic form, they are having their own mechanism, or actually different organisms for having the different. I am going to tell you this thing. So many forms are having their own mechanism for taking the oxygen. But when we talk about the aquatic organism, now this is important, aquatic form. They are going to take the dissolved oxygen. They are going to take the dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen means, in the short form we are calling it DO also. The dissolved oxygen, the oxygen which is dissolved in water. Now I am not talking about this oxygen which is the part of water molecule. I am not talking about this oxygen. I am talking about the oxygen which is dissolved in water. The oxygen which is dissolved in water. I am talking about this oxygen. This oxygen is the very integral part of the water molecule. We can't separate in the normal conditions. We can't separate this oxygen from this hydrogen. It is very, very hard to separate. But I am talking about the oxygen which is dissolved in water. So the oxygen which is dissolved in water is very, very important for all the life forms, all the aquatic life forms. The aquatic life forms are going to take the water. For example, fish. How the fish respires. Now they are having these special organs which are known to be as gills. Everybody knows. Now, what the fishes do? The fishes takes the water inside their mouth. That water passes from the gills, and inside the gills, the water goes out, and the oxygen gets trapped. And that oxygen is utilized by the fish for its respiration process. So if the question comes in the exam, how the aquatic organism respires, your answer is this. You can give the example of the fish also. Now the next thing is there is a question. There is a very, very important question. There is a very important question which is there in your book also, and the topic is also. Now the question is why the respiration rate, or you can say why the breathing rate of the aquatic animals is much higher than the terrestrial life forms. So for example, we were living on the land and the fishes were living in the water. So why the breathing rate of the fishes were more than us? Now the answer is very simple. That is a very important question. Why the breathing rate of aquatic animals were more compared to terrestrial terrestrial life forms. The question is that, and this question I am going to give you in the assignment also. So why the breathing rate of the aquatic animals were more compared to the terrestrial life forms? That is the question which is asked in this. That is, the answer is very simple. What the answer is? The answer is the availability of the oxygen. The oxygen is more available on the land, and there is no need for terrestrial animals to be in hurry. If the availability is more, then it is a chance for the terrestrial animals to breathe slowly. But in the aquatic form, the availability of the dissolved oxygen is very less. The oxygen which is dissolved is very less. The amount of oxygen which is dissolved is very less. So that is the answer. This is the answer. The amount of oxygen for the terrestrial life forms is very large, you can say, and more amount of oxygen is available to the terrestrial form. Very less amount of oxygen which is dissolved in the water is available for the aquatic form. That is the answer. Now, so as I told you that various different animal forms respires differently. Now this is the question you should know about. For example, I'm telling you the respiratory organs for many different animals. Respiratory organs, Respiratory organs. So many animals like amoeba, so they respire through their plasma membrane. They respire through their membrane itself, the unicellular organism. The unicellular organisms like amoeba, already we studied. Like amoeba, they respire through their plasma membrane. Their plasma membrane are nearly surround, they touch in the surrounding, and they respire through this plasma membrane. Second thing, the moist skin, moist gilly. The examples is the frog. The frog uses their moist skin. Frog uses their moist skin. The earthworms also. So the earthworms, or you can say frog, they can use the moist skin. Third case, tracheal system. This is very important. Tracheal system. Now the tracheal system. This tracheal system is a system which is found in insects. Such as cockroaches. So the tracheal system is the system of the tubes. Is the tubes inside the insects, and through this tubes the respiration process occurs. The grasshopper is also an example. Then the fishes. Everybody knows fishes. What they are using? They are using gills. And the fifth case, the humans, the different animals, or better to say mammals, apes, amphibians, they are using lungs. For their respiration process. I think you understood this? Okay, so now the last topic which I want to cover is the human respiratory system. The last topic which I want to cover is the human respiratory system. How the humans were there, how the human respiratory system is designed to obtain the oxygen. human respiratory system. Now we are going to see the humans, how humans were designed, how humans were having their respiratory system, how the humans were getting the oxygen and releasing the CO2. That is what we are going to see today. The system which is involved in the respiration process, the human respiratory system. Now the human respiratory system is a complex, a little bit complex. Not that much complex as we studied for the digestive system. Now the human respiratory system starts from the human respiratory system starts from our nose. Our nose is having two nostrils. ये जो आप अंदर ये गड्ढे देख रहे हैं, these are known to be as nostrils. So our nose is having two nostrils, which is having fine hairs. So the first part is the nostril, which is having fine hairs, and the mucus. Now there is a purpose. There is a purpose of this too. So fine hair and mucus prevents the unwanted things going to the nasal chamber, or the unwanted thing is going to be stopped in the nostrils. The mouth is also there. From the mouth also the air goes inside. But nostrils were having the fine hairs and mucus. So this is the nasal passage, the nostrils having fine hairs and mucus. Now this is the question: what is the role of these fine hairs and mucus? The role is to prevent the unwanted things which is coming with the air the person is breathing. Now, then after the nostril, there is a space which is common to both digestive system and for the respiratory system. That means the mouth and the nostrils opens in an empty space. That empty space is known to be as pharynx. Now the diagram is there in your book. Now when you are going to watch this video, you have to put the diagram with you. You have to keep the diagram with you. You have to see the diagram and you have to study this video. Now the nostril, after the nostril, the pharynx, the portion of the pharynx is there, and third, then in the next, larynx is there. Larynx is also known to be as the voice box. Adam's apple, 8th class, हमने पढ़ा था, है ना? तो larynx is also known to be as the voice box. Inside the voice box, the vocal cords are present. Inside the voice box, larynx, the vocal cords are present, and these vocal cords vibrates, and then the sound is produced. So for producing this sound, we have to vibrate these vocal cords, and these vocal cords are vibrate through the air which is passing those vibrating string vocal cords. Now after the larynx, there is a long tube which is known to be as trachea. And very important question came from the trachea. Now after the larynx, for example, just see this one is the larynx. This is the trachea. This is the trachea, or in the local language, in the general language, we are saying it is a windpipe also. Now there in the digestive system, esophagus is the food pipe. Here the trachea. Here the trachea is known to be as the windpipe, from where the air goes in. So the trachea is the windpipe. And the opening of the trachea from where the trachea opens, this opening, it is important, opening of trachea. Opening of trachea is known as glottis. The opening of the trachea is known as glottis. And a flap-like structure. Is covering the glottis. Okay, now I am going to tell you this. Now the opening of the esophagus, the food pipe, the opening of the food pipe is known to be as gullet. Gullet, gullet. And the opening, this is the two pipes, you can say. Now let us say these are the two pipes. The one is the esophagus. मैं गले की बात कर रहा हूँ. ये गले में यहाँ पे दो पाइप्स निकले हैं, दो पाइप्स ऐसे हैं, ओपन है, दो पाइप निकले हुए हैं. पहले को हम बोलते हैं एसोफेगस और दूसरे को हम बोलते हैं ट्रैकिया. इसकी ओपनिंग को हम बोलते हैं ग्लॉटिस और इसकी जो ओपनिंग है, इसकी ओपनिंग जो है उसे हम बोलते हैं गलेट. एंड वन फ्लैप लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, ढक्कन के जैसा फ्लैप लाइक स्ट्रक्चर इज देयर व्हिच इज नोन टू बी एज एपिग्लॉटिस. तो हमें ठसका क्यों लगता है जब हम कोई चीज खाते हैं, और कई बार क्या होता है कि वो हमें ठसका लग जाता है. तो जब भी हम कोई चीज निगलते हैं, when we are swallowing something, this epiglottis closes and the food goes to gullet in the food pipe. और कई बार ऐसा होता है कि ये जो एपिग्लॉटिस है ये खुला का खुला रह जाता है. तो अगर पानी पीते हैं और अगर खाना खाते हैं तो वो पानी और खाना जो है वो गलती से by chance it goes to this windpipe, which is not the path, which is not the way, which is not the accurate what you say passage for it. The accurate passage is the esophagus. So the body responds and suddenly we feel, the food comes out from our mouth or from our nose and all. I think you understood. So the trachea, we are coming back to the trachea. Now the trachea is the windpipe. And what is the important question? What is the very much important question coming from this trachea is that this trachea is made up of cartilaginous rings. Cartilaginous rings. That means these are the cartilaginous rings, cartilaginous bones. These are the cartilaginous bones which are there in the ring form. So this whole trachea is made up of these cartilaginous rings. And why these cartilaginous rings are present? The question is this: why this trachea is made up of these cartilaginous rings? The answer is that the trachea, these cartilaginous rings prevent the trachea for not collapsing. इसका मतलब ये है कि कार्टिलेजिनस रिंग्स जो हैं इस ट्रैकिया को कोलैप्स होने नहीं देते हैं. अगर ट्रैकिया बंद हो जाएगा तो सांस अंदर नीचे जाना बंद हो जाएगा, हवा का जाना बंद हो जाएगा. सो फॉर द कंटिन्यूअस सप्लाई ऑफ द एयर, फॉर द कंटिन्यूअस सप्लाई ऑफ द ऑक्सीजन, दिस ट्रैकिया रिमेन्स ओपन. And why? And I think all of you understood why these cartilaginous rings are there. This keeps trachea opens all the time. It won't, or it prevents the trachea not to collapse. The answer is okay. Now after the trachea, it divides into two. It divides into two tubes which are known to be as bronchi. These tubes are known to be as bronchi. You can see. And from there, the left lung and the right lung separates. So the bronchi further converts into very, very small tubes which are known to be as bronchioles. It is known to be as bronchioles, and these bronchioles terminates into alveoli. These bronchioles terminate into a balloon-like structure. There are so many bronchioles. Millions of alveoli are there. So these bronchioles terminates into alveoli. So alveoli is the balloon-like structure which are found on the termination of these bronchioles, and in the alveoli there is an exchange of gases occurs. In the alveoli there is an exchange of gases occurs. So how this happens, I will tell you. Now let us suppose this is the alveoli. The oxygen comes in. Near the alveoli there are blood capillaries. There are blood vessels. Blood vessels carries the CO2. Blood vessels carries the CO2 from the body to the alveoli. Now from the blood vessels the CO2 goes into the alveoli. From the alveoli it goes out from the body, and from the alveoli the oxygen comes in, and the oxygen then goes to the body, and the CO2 is coming from the body. So alveoli is the site. Alveoli is the site where the exchange of gases occurs, and we are having millions and millions of alveoli. We are having millions and millions of alveoli. So this is the question comes in the exam. What are alveoli? What is the function of alveoli? Where the exchange of gases occurs in the human respiratory system, the lungs. Is it clear? So breathing already we know. Taking the oxygen. Now when we breathe, what happens? How we are going to breathe? Our chest cavity becomes upraised and the diaphragm contracts. And the reverse when we are exhaling the oxygen. Now this is what the human respiratory system is there for you. Just go through your book, go through the diagram, and please let me know that what are the difficulties you are finding in that. Just go through your book, and when you watch my videos, please keep NCERT with you. It is very, very important. So please keep NCERT book with you. The diagrams are there. So much. Now the next thing is the respiratory pigment. That is important. The respiratory pigment. Now, what is the respiratory pigment? Now, these are the pigments found inside our body, which helps the oxygen to carry through all over the body. For example, I'm telling you, if the diffusion occurs inside our body, now in the lower animals or in the lower plants, the diffusion, I think all of you know, it is the movement of particles from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. If this is the way, this is not the diffusion is actually the insufficient thing, or you can say process for circulating the oxygen inside our body. Diffusion is very, very insufficient process, but we are having a molecule which is known to be as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, which is found on the RBC, that is the red blood cells, and because of this hemoglobin, the red blood cells, the blood appears. Because of this RBC, only the blood appears red in color. Now this is the respiratory pigment. Now what is the respiratory pigment? I am telling you. The oxygen is going to bind with this hemoglobin. The oxygen is going to bind with this hemoglobin and circulates in our whole body. Again I am repeating, oxygen binds to this hemoglobin and circulates all over in our body. Now sir, how the CO2? The CO2 is very much soluble. The CO2 is very much soluble in the plasma. Plasma is the fluid portion of the blood. Blood का fluid portion plasma कहलाता है. So CO2 dissolved in plasma. CO2 dissolved in plasma and circulates inside our body. So what the question came from here? How the oxygen and CO2 circulate inside our body? How the oxygen and CO2 circulate inside our body? That is the question. In which form? In which form the CO2 and oxygen? So how the oxygen binds with the hemoglobin and circulates inside our body. The CO2 is dissolved in the plasma, dissolved form. CO2 is there in the dissolved form in the form of carbonates, bicarbonates. It is there and circulates inside our body. So this is the end of the topic here. This is the end of the topic is there, and that is the topic of the respiration for you. I think I remember that all the things I cover in this topic. I think all the things. Okay, now one more thing, very important. How we know that the gas which we are expelling, the gas we are releasing is CO2. How we know that? So there is an activity. I think the activity 6.3. So the activity 6.3 is important. Why it is important? Because it shows in that reaction we are studying about how the CO2 is react to the lime water. Now in that activity, now how we know that? Now if we blow in the air in the lime water turns milky. If we take a straw and we take a lime water and we just blow the air which is coming from our body to that water, the water becomes milky. It becomes milky. That shows the presence of CO2. That shows the presence of CO2. I think you understood. So just go through that activity and just keep in mind this thing what I told you right now. So this is the end of the respiratory system, respiratory topic. And in the next video, I am going to cover the transportation, mainly the transportation in the human beings, and then after that the transportation in the plants, how the transportation is there in the plants. So it is very, very must for you because the COVID-19 is there. The disease is spreading with a greater speed. So stay home and study. Study is very important. I'm telling you, the study is very important. Study. Watch these videos. If you are having problem, you can call me. You can mail me. You can message me. Okay. So thank you for watching.